Welcome, and thank you for joining for another whiskey review. Today, we're going to take a look at the Balblair 10-year-old from Blackadder. Cask Strength Edition. And if you're wondering, no, Dustin did not get taller. My man Keith from the Wealth of Man Cave came by to see me, so we're going to knock out a couple of his whiskeys he thought were interesting to talk about. This one, Oloroso Sherry Cask, 57.8%. And for those of you who are big fans of Dustin, don't worry, he'll be back next week. He had a little car trouble, couldn't make it up today. All right, so Keith, this is one. You brought up some couple of sherry bombs here today with you. Kind of the bottom of this bottle here. What can you tell us about it?
So I want to apologize. So I took this to a party. I was planning on bringing this. I had it like up to here, and I took it to a get together. And some people got a hold of it that did not know that I was trying to save it, so I'm sorry.
Hey, we got something.
Balblair is one of the better Highland distilleries, in my opinion. Kleinleash, Balblair, some of those other ones up north. Balblair is north of Inverness in the Highlands. They're kind of known, Balblair. They did the vintages for a long time. You know, they would have like the 1990, the
25-year-old. That was a good one.
The 2005, and I think it was the 1990 like sherry bomb that was like 20 or 21 or
25 years old.
25 is just.
I think the 1990. I reviewed that whiskey. That was a great one.
It was incredible.
Yes, this is another sherry offering, Oloroso sherry. I would like it, Cask Strength, and I am a big fan of the Blackadder. I love the little chips in it.
So yeah, the one thing you're gonna notice is, especially since it's the bottom of the bottle, like we have a ton of
chips.
The chips actually from the cask. So Blackadder is known for these raw casks, single malt Scotch whiskey drawn from a single cask. No added color, no chill filtration, at cask strength.
All things we love.
In the back it says whiskey as it always was, whiskey as it used to be. Every drop is whiskey is from the old school. Each and every bottle contains its own share of the cask sediment as well as natural oils and fats that might otherwise be left behind when filling a cask strength whiskey straight from the cask. So for this, an unusually amount of cask sediment and chips, which is just gonna. It looks like coffee grounds.
Make it a fun whiskey. I remember talking to a guy online, and he had one of these. He was like, "Hey, I think I got a bad bottle. There were some chips in there." I'm like, "You did not get a bad bottle.
You got a good bottle.
You got a good bottle." Exact opposite. I tell you right off the bat, man, you get Cask Strength and you get Oloroso Sherry. Woo! Big punch. Spicy sherry.
I get cinnamon.
Yep.
A little bit of blood oranges.
Good one.
It's not super chocolatey, but I mean a little bit in the background.
Yeah, the citrus and the spice is big in this one.
More grapes, though, than usual with Oloroso. I mean, you'd think because it's Oloroso, you get that grape, a lot, but a lot of times you don't. It's more like chocolate. It's more like, red fruits. I get a grapey note on this.
Big ABV on this, Keith.
Yeah.
Stings the nostrils.
It does sting the nostrils.
10 years old, it's a young whiskey. But I've always said if you have a good distillate, 10 years is all you need in a good cask.
Yeah, that cartridge is 10 years old, that we said earlier. That was the new. What is that again?
New Lefroy cartridge. 30 years friend Lefroy. Gave Keith a little try for that. It was his first time with it.
For a 10-year.
The people that are, friends, or I should say regular viewers of the channel, they've already seen that one. I could not hype that up enough. All right, Keith. I tell you what, there is now a little bit of a berry note kind of building here in the background.
Strawberry, grapey.
Yeah, a little bit of blackberry almost.
Blackberry currant. Yep.
Yeah, blackberry to me is a very sweet berry.
Ooh. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yes, I'm getting a little bit of that. It's my first time with it, though. I'll take a little sip. It's punchy on the palate, too. You get a lot of sweetness initially on the tongue, but as soon as you swallow, it gets prickly with spice, cinnamon, and a few other spices. As soon as you swallow, you get that ABV. High ABV, good cask wine maceration. But then as soon as the linger starts to come up, you start getting some of the fruits, man. Nice fruity note, mixed berries, I would say. But again, on the long linger on the side, slight twinge of chocolate, and a lot of spice. What are you picking up?
That blackberry currant, grapey fruit, strawberry fruit. A little bit of chocolate kind of creeps in. cinnamon, a little bit of ginger. But I get a lot with Macallan, those ginger notes.
Yeah,
but I'm getting a little bit there.
I'm getting ginger on the side of my sushi. Yep.
Balblair is one of those things when they use good cask, it's incredible. Now I've had some bad Balblairs, especially when they're younger, 7 years old and maybe not so great bourbon cask. But when they do things right, man, Balblair is one of the better distilleries.
I tell you what, Blackadder, I wouldn't say is my favorite independent bottler.
They're up there.
But they do a
Top five.
They do a good job. But I'll tell you this, they do a great job with young whiskey.
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone does young whiskey as good as Blackadder.
I would definitely agree with that.
I still have some of those 10-year-old Islas packed in somewhere in my closet. I was like, man, those things were so much fun to drink. A little water for you?
Mm-hmm. Probably not too much, bro.
Yeah, a little tad. Got the new Glencairn water jug. It's actually not bad to pour.
Oh, I ruined it.
That's all right. I have a little something for it. It's your first time with it.
Such a noob.
You're savage. Caveman. You got a beard and all of a sudden you're just breaking everything.
Have some whiskey with my water. I'm getting notes of H2O and limestone minerality.
We still got the Fiji water. So probably not a lot of that. All right, so with water, more fruit, more spice. More fruit, more spice for the most part.
Look at all this cask sediment.
Yeah. Gets dirty in here.
Look at that.
Oh, man, I tell you what. For a whiskey lover like me, and maybe for other whiskey lovers it's different, but the first time I had a Blackadder, I'm like, this is exactly how I want my whiskey all the time.
Dude. It's got some spicy notes that are good. Sometimes you can have some whiskey, especially sherry whiskey, when the spice is it's too much. Mm-hmm. These are pleasant. It's a good spice.
It's almost coming off like French oak. Yeah. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's Oloroso sherry, so that could be ex-American wood, that could be Spanish wood, French oak. It could be a lot of things. It's coming off that porous, spicy French oak, which if it's done right, man, I always love that note.
It has before I took with all the water. When I took a sip before I added all that water.
That's the whiskey with your water.
It has a really good finish. It lasts for a while. For a 10-year-old, that will sing on your tongue for a bit.
Spicy, enjoyable, punchy.
Grape,
Even
strawberries,
57.8 can handle water really well.
Ginger, cinnamon.
All right, buddy, whiskey score time. So how me and Dustin usually work this is whose ever whiskey it is not gets to go first as far as the whiskey score. And then you follow up since you had more time with this, you can't influence me. Blackadder Fun Whiskey, actually, we've had this before. Mm-hmm. That we brought over here, so even though I only had a little sample here, it's a whiskey that I am somewhat familiar with. Another good offering by Blackadder. Super fun whiskey, cask strength, handled water pretty well.
Really well.
Really
in
well.
my case.
Even in Key's case right at the end.
We had such a small amount to work with in the first place, and I just destroyed it.
We're going a little bit off memory here. I'm going to give it the higher of the two whiskey scores I was considering, Keith. I'm at an 88 out of 100. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I was thinking 87, 88.
Yep.
I really enjoyed it better when it was up to here. Because it is, so I love a little bit of the cask sediment, but when you're getting to the bottle, it's like a little.
It's all the cask.
It's just cask sediment.
It's sugar at the end of the espresso.
Because I remember I liked it better, when the last time we had it.
For sure.
And I think Dustin was impressed with it. I think you were like, man, for a 10-year-old, this is delicious.
Blackadder does young whiskey well.
Yeah, 87, 88 for sure.
Yeah.
If you see this, I think I got a great price on it.
What was it, about $150?
I think cheaper than that, man. I think like 120.
Yeah,
I would pay for that all day.
88, that's worth it, especially for cask strength whiskey. And Balblair is a whiskey that, I know it's Highland whiskey, but it's easy just to say I've had a couple of the sherried ones. It's a nice, that style of sherried non-peated whiskey. But I'll tell you what, man, it gets gritty and got dirty here. I prefer it like this.
And it wasn't crappy sherry casks that were seasoned for 5 months with stuff that really wasn't good. It wasn't sherry that's going to be used for sherry drinkers to actually drink sherry. I think they put some good sherry in it for a little bit in those casks.
Yeah, and it wouldn't shock me if it was French oak, but that's just my thought.
Yep.
Anyway, those are our thoughts on this particular whiskey. If you guys had a chance to try this one, we'd like to know what you guys think. Until next time, Keith, what do we wish the folks?
Happy drinking.
We'll see you next time.